Woohoo! So I have enabled the live reactive mode this time, so that's good. But hello, people. Is it actually live? Is it actually working? And what's the delay like? Are you still here, Ishmael? Hello. How are you doing? How's life? There we go. Andrew's Tech Tips. Please no. Please no. Yeah, I don't know that that's necessarily the best name for a show. I think there's already a similar one. I don't know what it'd be called, but I think there's a similar one around. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Tex, for your needs. How's your day going? How's your week? I suppose since I haven't spoken to everyone in a week. Apologies for the ice pack. It's the palindromic rheumatism, joint pain, real sore, hurts my neck. So you gotta alternate between heat packs and ice packs, or in this case, heat rubs and ice packs. Yes, Linus is always late. Luke's better. Luke does a better job at being on time, but yeah, Linus is always late. Woo! 3 watching! Woohoo! Thanks, guys. How is everyone? What's Oh, hi, Philip. You're not that far from me. That's cool. Hey, Mammoth, how you doing? Let me just close all of the things because I have all of the things open. You need to go. What? Why? What are you doing? What's more important than my face? A lot of things, I assume, but. Hello, 8989 Adan. How are you? Oh dear. As I said, I have enabled the reactive mode, so hopefully there isn't a 4 million second delay this time. And yeah, that should be better. Last week it was 30 plus seconds of delay, which made conversing with you guys rather difficult. We're roughly Nottingham area, give or take 10 miles. Tech for your needs, your week is going fabulous, awesome. Your desk setup evolution, nice. Is that a desk PC or is that just how you have your setup? Jesus Christ. Ugh. I have a lot of pain. I've had my knee, my ankle, and both sides of my neck and this shoulder go all this week. It hurts so much. Yeah, why are you missing them, Mammoth? What's the deal? What's better than this slightly washed out face? Oh dear, a lot of things I assume, but yeah. Adam, I kind of just explained that pretty bad right now. I also have a stomach ulcer at the same time, a duodenal stomach ulcer. Which, especially if I eat especially spicy things, I am in just like 10 out of 10 pain for a while. Hello, Gadget Joe. I guess I'm okay at the moment. This side of my neck and this side of my neck plus this shoulder and currently my knee, as in why I'm currently hobbling forward, right knee hurts like hell, so yeah, and yeah, stomach ulcer, so say Mammoth, maybe next time. Yeah, if only you could replace body parts as easy as PC parts. Oh god, how I wish that was true. So good, that'd be so good. One day. Actually, it wouldn't even help because it's an autoimmune disease, which means it's my immune system, so I'd have to literally replace every single tendon in my body, and I don't think that that's possible. Maybe just upload my consciousness to an AI, I guess that would work. Thanks, Steve. Your comment was nice on the health video, thank you for that. I do have an antacids, Adam. The bionic Andrew, I love that. I should make a TV show about that. or a YouTube series, because they're basically the same thing nowadays, right? Yeah, the singularity would occur. Potentially, I'd try and not be a malicious AI, but, you know. That's cool, Joe. Well, I'm not actually getting specific meds besides just painkillers, and physio is kind of difficult because it's autoimmune. So because it's different joints and stuff like that, it's not like yourself where being able to help like your legs kind of thing. Like you can do specific stretches that help the consistent pain in your legs or whatever. For me, it's I woke up this morning and the shoulder and neck still really hurt, and as of about midday, this side of my neck started hurting, and by dinner it was like excruciating and I couldn't move my neck, and my knee's been hurting for a couple of days as well, and it just comes and goes and it changes a lot, so that's what makes it really difficult. But yeah, heat packs, ice packs and heat packs and heat gel and stuff like that. TechteamGB series that you're starting, what's going to become named desk sets. Oh, okay, fair play. So kind of what's on your desk and stuff like that, and your setup. Fair enough. I don't have too much to talk about this week. I enjoyed chatting with you pretty much entirely last week. So sorry, that's the stomach ulcer side effects. Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, so the other thing that I actually have to talk about, which since I'm sort of welling my own self-pity at the moment, talk about Threadripper. Where is it? That way. Steve, I don't think I can afford to move to Dubai. If I could, I don't know that I would anyway, but yeah, that might be kind of interesting. Yeah, you'll have robotic legs, I'll have robotic everything. Yeah, anyway, point is, Threadripper, I'm going to turn the camera up a little bit because I've sat forward now. Yeah, so Threadripper, which is that way for you, that way for me. Threadripper is awesome. From the reviews that we've seen so far, the 12-core slightly beats out Intel's 10-core, which is kind of to be expected since 1800X doesn't quite match out with the 7820X. The 7820X is a little bit faster, so you're expecting that since Threadripper is basically just two Ryzen dies, like two 1800Xs kind of glued together, you're looking at a fairly similar performance to effectively the two chips in SLI, if you like. So it's really cool, and obviously at a price point lower than the 8-core itself, and then obviously when you're looking at the $1,000 1950X, you're looking at 16 cores, which handily beats out the 17900X for the same price. So that's pretty awesome. Any thoughts on Threadripper while we're here? I'll switch back to my face since that's clearly the main draw. I wouldn't really say so, but sure. Joe, my desk is doing cool. I'm not really doing a V2 necessarily. I do want to do some upgrades to it, but it kind of depends on where I'm going with it. I think a version 2 would have to be a new desk, realistically. Either that or perhaps just completely replace how the components fit in, because right now they're basically just bodged in as kind of fairly naff way, but when it comes to actually like completely replacing it, I'm pretty happy with it right now, so I'm not too fussed. But yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you think? Does it need a V2? I don't really know what I would change necessarily. There's a few sort of tweaks and things that could be better about it certainly, but yeah. LV Fatter Martins, hello, how are you doing? You're only on the first stream? No worries. I did miss a stream because I was away last week or the week before. No, week before last, because I did one last week. But I've done a couple since, and it's been a lot of fun having a chat, so yeah. If you've got any questions or anything, by the way, leave them in the comments. That's kind of the majority of the stream anyway. It might be a little bit shorter because of pain everywhere at the moment. So yeah, we'll have to see. Ishmael, I totally agree. AMD is definitely smashing it out of the park when it comes to CPUs. There's a review coming out on Monday at 2 p.m. that I can't talk about because I signed a non-disclosure agreement, but it's not a CPU, and it's related. But yeah, that one's going to be very interesting. I'm going to be really interested to see what the sort of community feedback for that product is. But yeah, I'm interested to see what people think about that, because I just finished my benchmarking today, and I'm going to be doing a comparison video as well, which I need to finish off too. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. I can see if I get a Lian Li desk for review. I would love to. That'd be really cool. I don't know where I'd put it because I'm already running out of space as it is. But yeah, that would be pretty awesome. I'd love to have a go on those on a proper pre-built desk. The first pre-built, or the first sort of desk PC that I ever saw was the Red Harbinger ones. They're awesome. They were like $4,000 though, or something crazy. So it was like, oh no, I'll just build my own for like 150 quid. But yeah. AMD is smashing it out of the park. Yes, I've said that already. I don't know why I read that comment twice. I must love you, Ishmael. Steve, AMD has scored a great win over Intel. I use Xeons at work, contemplating a Threadripper build for home. Yeah, it's kind of insane. I mean, obviously the 64 PCIe lanes, even if you discount the 4 PCIe lanes that go to the chipset, you're still talking about 60 PCIe lanes versus 48 for Xeons. So you're still already getting benefit from a desktop chip, not even looking at the EPYC CPUs, and the 1900X, the 8-core one, that looks insane for how obviously many PCIe lanes you get, but you're obviously going to get very similar performance to an 1800X, but you get those extra PCIe lanes as well. So do you get extra cache? I can't remember how they've disabled the CCXs on that chip. But I know that they're doing it with basically two dummy dies and then two normal dies, but then with 2 of them disabled. So it's kind of 2 quad-core dies stuck together as opposed to 1 integrated one, which would be interesting to see the performance for that, especially due to the latency between the chips. Oh, there's a lot of stuff to talk about there. But yeah, that will be interesting to see once that one comes around. I do hope to have a Threadripper chip available at some point, but I don't have one at the moment, which is why you haven't seen a review today. But yeah, I think you should have one fairly shortly. Your desk has been a long time coming. Yes, I certainly know the feeling. I've wanted to do one for a long time. I had to move out first. Yeah. So you're nearing completion. Nice one. I could make it larger. I mean, I did think about that when I first designed it, but there was a lot of issue with just trying to get custom parts, and the graphics card that I initially had with it, the one that's in that PC that you probably can't see, but it's the Gigabyte Extreme Gaming. They basically didn't want me to overclock it. They didn't want me to water cool it. Sorry. So that was kind of one of the main factors in that aspect. So yeah, I would like to water cool it, but at the same time I did also want to be able to switch out parts, but then because I did it a bit bodged, I can't really switch out parts that easily. I have to basically fully disassemble the PC to be able to switch out anything. So yeah, that's probably the main, I want to upgrade the usability first and then think about features. Also temperatures, that's one that I'd like to change. I don't know how to do it for all the pain live streaming. It's my life, it's a lifelong thing. Just gonna have to deal with it basically. Painkillers. Ishmael, I can neither confirm nor deny if you're very enthusiastic, great, awesome, enthusiastic, great, awesome guess is correct. It sounds pretty good, I'll be honest. Enterprise, I do hope that they go for EPYC CPUs, especially considering the what looks like anyway performance per dollar, and especially stuff like PCIe lanes per dollar as well. That's gonna be awesome, especially for their data center and multi graphics card adapter kind of operations. Yes, Ishmael, level 3 cache. I believe the way that they've disabled it, you get double the cache, so you get 32 megabytes L3 versus the 16 in Ryzen. Skymaster, I am okay. I've got pain in both sides of my neck and that shoulder and my right knee, so yeah, getting on. I've also got a stomach ulcer, which, now that I think about it, actually hurts quite a lot. Where the Linux videos, I kind of need to work out some topics that I want to cover still. I got kind of distracted with a lot of things, including my health. That was quite a big detractor for getting stuff done, but I would like to get back to them at some point. Is it worth to buy the 1900X just for the PCIe lanes? Only if you are using multiple graphics cards and NVMe storage and like external, like obviously can't use Thunderbolt because it's Thunderbolt, which is an Intel technology, but yeah. If you're using multiple graphics cards, then then go for it. If not, then an 1800X is probably going to be a little bit cheaper. The platform is definitely going to be cheaper. You know, you can get a B350 motherboard or something and just go with that. Or if you need a load of RAM, then the 1900X will be better for you. But yeah, the 1920X has 38 megabyte combined cache, 40 in the 1950. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense because of the core. Had they turn off cores, and they've tried to basically not turn off the CCX units in the 1920X because of the differences in the cache levels. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. I thought it would have been more cache than that because of how they designed it, but okay, fair play. Can 3200 megahertz with the 5820K cause crashes in pub? Only problem in pub, put it to 23. So pub is a bit of an interesting one because it's just really buggy on a lot of things, and depending on what you're doing and depending on how you're doing it, it may be an issue. It's not something that I've tested personally because that's quite a specific scenario. I also don't have a 5820K, so I also can't test that one myself. But if you don't see an issue, put it at 2133, put it to 2800, see what you see, put it to 3000, and yeah, see it there. If I'm on Linux, how about some videos setting up a Hadoop/Spark cluster? I do want to do some cluster videos because that's actually pretty interesting and be able to do distributed computing and stuff like that. That would be pretty cool. I am still certainly a bit of a noob to Linux. That's why the Linux for Beginners series kind of exists, really, because I was and still am a pretty beginner to Linux, and to be able to learn it, I thought it would be a good experience to be able to share that with you guys and sort of enjoy the process of learning together, you know, as well as making interesting videos that people who aren't necessarily regular viewers can also enjoy. PCI lanes for storage controllers and 10 gig SFP plus cards, or SFP cards, yes, 10 gig or even the crazy like 100 gig AMD stuff that Linus was showing off. That's insane. I don't need it, but I want it. 5 million very reviews pointing out Threadripper ECC memory support. Yes, that's a big thing. I mean, what's kind of crazy is that when I was talking to Wendell, when I was at Computex, he was talking about how Dell PowerRed servers are coming with i3s. Like, i3. A desktop CPU which doesn't have ECC memory support, and these are like professional PowerRed servers. That's one of the benefits of Ryzen as well. They're not officially supported, I don't think, but from what I've seen and from testing that I've seen from people who I trust to test that sort of stuff, ECC memory support, depending on the motherboard, is supported, so that's pretty awesome for Ryzen. And of course, Threadripper having ECC memory support is insanely good for the business and enterprise, and I suspect that unless Threadripper or Epic are genuinely separated enough from each other, I don't think that they're gonna. I think that AMD is going to see a lot of Threadripper sales more than they expect, and that's because server people, people who are actually going out and buying and building their own servers and stuff like that, are going to be putting them in their servers and using them that way, because that's a lot of compute power for relatively little amount of money, and especially when you compare that to Intel's server lineup and the fact that they're overclockable and all that sort of stuff is always very good, and obviously the PCIe lanes too. Hello, Amazing Warrior. How are you? How's your week? How's your week, day, everything? Let me know. Skymaster having issues with the PG348Q. It doesn't detect properly. Yeah, Intel, no, not Intel. Nvidia has a bit of a reputation for not really working too well with Linux distros. Mint should be okay. I've had decent experience with 1080, not Ryzen, or yes, 1800X Ryzen, 1800X and a 1080 with Mint. It was Cinnamon Mint, but it's Mint, so it shouldn't matter. Mint shouldn't matter. So you should be okay. Just make sure that you've got the NVIDIA driver actually installed properly, and then troubleshooting from there. Linux is always a fun one because there's a lot more kind of work that goes into it. Also, I can't remember where it was. Someone said, have I seen any interesting... Sean said, is there any interesting PC news this week? The biggest thing this week has been Threadripper, which I kind of briefly showed earlier. In terms of obviously the Anantech article, Ian Cuttress does a brilliant job going through everything and doing far too much testing that makes the rest of us look bad. But yeah, Threadripper is kind of the biggest news this week. There's going to be some big news on Monday that I definitely recommend you check out, and make sure you're subscribed and all that jazz. I mean, I don't know that you wouldn't be subscribed if you're already here, but yeah. If you're not, make sure you are, because load of reviews coming up. Let me just check one thing, and then I'll be here momentarily. 14 people. Oh, thank you. Right, we saw gaming 1950X extremely bad compared to the 7900X. Is it a problem with the architecture or leak of drivers? Or I suppose that's meant to say lack, or I guess leak. I think that there's a couple of fronts to why you might see 1950X be considerably slower, or overall slower than the 7900X. One, you're looking at a lot lower single core performance. You're also looking at, because the dies are split up there is potential for higher latency between them, because obviously when you have Intel's 10 cores that are all right next to each other, the interconnects between them take a tiny amount of time. Single clock cycles kind of thing for everything to actually transfer through, whereas with Threadripper and Epic, in theory you're looking at a longer transfer time, because even though you still have the Infinity Fabric, which is a stupidly high bandwidth connection, there's physical distance in there, and the speed of light does actually come into effect when you're talking about a 5 gigahertz clock speed there. So, or when you're talking about high, like multi-gigahertz clock speeds, you're talking about a big effect based on the speed of light. So that's a thing. Yes, game mode should help that, but I don't know necessarily how it's doing that, whether it's trying to do that via software, in which case that might be a little slower, a little bit more difficult if that's another software layer on top, or if it's doing it in a more hardware level. And yeah, there's a few extra tweaks and stuff like that. There's also, as I said, the straight up core speed difference. The Intel chips generally have a single threaded performance benefit, which games still love, even if you're talking about 10 to 16 core CPUs. The ability to have slightly higher clock speeds and slightly higher overall single core performance for games at the moment is still massively needed or massively wanted from game engines. As we see more multi-threading support, in theory faster clock speeds shouldn't be as effective, but until we see that, and especially until we see more DirectX 12 and Vulkan games, I don't think you're going to see much of a difference. Skymaster quite slow. Hopefully it detects afterwards properly. Yes, it's a bit of a pain. Just kind of get to it. What to do with a PC if you have nothing to upgrade? Only useless overkill upgrade. Boring. Yes, it is a bit of a bit of a pain when you're at the top level, but there's always something else to upgrade: monitors, keyboards, mice, accessories, microphone. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because when I first started getting into PC gaming and stuff like that, everything was always, I must upgrade to this, I must get this new thing. But now I'm at a point where I have relative abundance and I'm playing with all the new stuff. In theory, I don't care too much anymore. I mean, I have a 1080 and a Ryzen 1700X, so I'm doing pretty good. And until there's a significant performance improvement from my graphics card, I don't know that I care too much about upgrading at this point, because it plays everything I need, and especially with the 1700X overclocked to 3.8 gigahertz temperature-wise, and just general like video rendering performance-wise, I'm pretty happy with it. James, no worries. That's alright. I missed one, not last week, but the week before because I was away. But this has kind of devolved more into a chat, which I kind of enjoy doing just because the comments and even Twitter can be a little slow sometimes. But to be able to chat to 20 people or whatever at any one time and have a conversation is always fun. I have enabled reactive mode this time, so hopefully it's actually going to be relatively quick and we can actually converse in some meaningful manner rather than waiting 30 seconds for a reply and then waiting another 30 seconds and Steve, okay, that's cool. I haven't, because I don't have one, I haven't been looking over the actual press material and stuff. That should definitely help. It depends if every reviewer has been enabling game mode, because I certainly know that some people when testing things do forget that sort of thing. I have been guilty of that in the past, but yeah, it's there's check the results, check multiple sites to see what the difference is, because I would be interested to know what the actual benefit over like game mode than to just the standard mode. I'd be interested to see what the difference is. Vladimir, can I check out your build? Sure. What is it? What parts? Is it a custom build, or is it like did you modify the case in some way, or what? Intel announced that the X series will benefit of the chipset PCIe lanes. What are the differences between chipset PCIe lanes and CPU PCIe lanes? This is a fun one. So Intel uses was it DMI 3.0, which is their sort of proprietary interconnect to the chipset. They claim that it's worth like 20 PCIe lanes extra or something. That's not quite right, because it's not really fair. I think it's more like 4x, which is actually the same as Ryzen. Ryzen just uses 4 of the CPU's lanes. So if you have 64 on Ryzen, you get 60 total usable. But the benefit of having direct connect PCIe lanes versus through the chipset is that you remove some latency, which is really important for GPU acceleration and general GPUs, and in terms of just the overall speed of connectivity is much better on when you're directly connected than via through the chipset. There's also a little bit of a limitation when you go through the chipset, because that puts it in the same IO MMU group as everything else, unless you have a motherboard vendor who cares about that sort of thing, and then they can break out the devices that are attached to the chipset into their own IO MMU groups. Then stuff like Linux pass-through and stuff like virtualization, which is a big thing in the enterprise, it doesn't work very well because you can't directly pass through certain groups into certain machines, or virtual machines. So yeah, that's the main benefits, at least from what I'm aware. I certainly don't know everything, so yeah. What I think about Vega cards, I can't tell you until Monday. I am signed a non-disclosure agreement. I finished my review today, and the video will be out on Monday. I was actually quite surprised by the results in multiple ways, and that's all I can say. You're willing to buy 78XE, do you think game on an 18 core? So that's the thing, the clock speed is going to have to be lower, obviously. It's also going to be something like a 200 watt TDP chip. It has to be, if you're running 18 Skylake X cores, the same cores as the 10 core 7900X. and you're running it at anywhere near a decent clock speed, it's going to be a stupidly power hungry chip, probably more power hungry, in fact probably considerably more power hungry than Threadripper, even the 1950X, and I don't think that the 2 extra cores for double the money is going to give you realistically any benefit, especially if you're just talking about gaming. I wouldn't even bother getting a Threadripper chip. Realistically, if you really only care about gaming, then a 7700K is still the best performance right now, and in terms of longevity, the best value for money is still something like 1700 or 1700X. Oh yeah, that's my thoughts. If you are doing other stuff in terms of gaming, then sure, the 1920 is probably a pretty good shout. The 1900X, when it comes out, will be a great shout too. And if you really want to splash out, then the 1950X is great. But I really don't think that, double the price is going to be anywhere near worth it. But we'll have to see. Vladimir, you can't post a link to your PC part picker list. Yes, that's probably just because of the spam filtering on YouTube. What's the spec? Just like give me the main list: CPU, RAM, motherboard, graphics card, those sort of bits. James, no worries. It's a pain, quite literally. That's why I have an ice pack. But I will survive. Hey. That's copyrighted material. I probably can't sing that. But yeah, I will stay alive. Just about. Joe, the architecture works very similar to the Xeon technology on the X series, as far as I'm aware, from what we know anyhow. It means first few cores will reach turbo clock. Yeah, there's on the new Skylake X CPUs, you're looking at the there's depending on which chip you get, there's normally about 2 cores where you have the benefit of like preferred cores. That's one preferred, where they overclock higher than everything else with Turbo Boost 3.0 rather than just standard Turbo Boost or whatever. So that's quite cool on Skylake X, which gives you which, if the right core is picked when the application is running on the core, gives you a stupidly high single-threaded performance result while not really actually giving you that level of performance. It's more like a we can do this winky face. But yeah, James, yes, Monday is the word. 2 p.m. to be precise, UK time. Stick around, make sure your notifications run, it'll be fun. Yeah, Overclockers UK plug again because I have their mug. Why not? They're nice guys. That'll do. Don't pay me yet. Pay me, please. Anyone got any other questions they want answered? I'm still waiting for Vladimir to tell me what CPU he's planning on getting. But I don't really have too many stories this week, mostly because besides stuff like Threadripper and obviously next week's big announcement, everything is kind of slow. I'm going to have to sit back because this hurts. So yeah, I mean, there's obviously been a lot of net neutrality things going on. There's also been a few interesting ones about the FCC being, let's say, disingenuous about Freedom of Information Act requests and stuff like that, and the fact that they're not giving out information for Freedom of Information Act requests, which isn't that illegal. But hey, whatever. Any video about overclocking a Ryzen 1600X with an Asus ROG motherboard? It's basically the same as the 1800X, really. Just pump the clock speed, pump the voltage, and don't go above 1.45 volts, I think it is, for Ryzen. And then, yeah, that's basically it. Make sure that your RAM is as high as it will go, because RAM speed does have a pretty decent effect. I have been doing some testing with the 1700 non-X to see what the performance difference is with 2133 RAM versus 2800 megahertz RAM. And that's been quite interesting. That's just in gaming so far, and it's been interesting, but I want to clarify that, and I might retest all of it again and spend another like 3 days testing everything so that I can use the 1800X instead, because then you get a bit of a, in theory, a bit of a bigger performance difference, and it's a bit better to show, better to give an understanding. What we got? So let's imagine if I have 1080 Ti SLI, a lot of RAM, fast storage, having custom water cooled. Shall I take the 17900X, the 1950X? Depending on what you mean by a lot of RAM, I mean I suppose they can both really handle it. But in terms of value for money, if you're comparing the 1950X to the 17900X. The 1950X is much better value for money because you get 6 more cores. You get probably 4 cores more worth of performance there, I think, but you're going to be benefited, especially fast storage, if you're talking about NVMe SSDs, than having full 16 lanes for your... Oh, I know what that is. Hold on, my light. My light uses an adapter, and the adapter is terrible. So yeah, that was fun. The sparking that you heard was sparking this AC 240 volts basically on my foot. Not quite, obviously not dead, so that helps. But yeah, fun times. Anyway, yeah, so you won't get much gaming performance difference, I don't think. You might see a little bit, but you will see some better optimizations and stuff like that. So yeah, in terms of straight up value for money, the 1950X is a better shout for the money. But personally, I'd go with the 1920 and just save the what, 250 quid or whatever, and go for that. Vladimir, your system looks pretty good. Yeah, looks cool. What graphics card are you going with? I don't see that there. Oh, 1080 Ti hybrid, yeah. Looks like an awesome build. Of course, 7700K is going to be the best performance right now, but in a couple of years' time might not be, so depends what you're aiming for. If you want the best performance right now, you don't mind upgrading in a couple of years' time to a higher core clock, then sure, go for it. I know I love playing games in 4K and need a lot of CPU power for your work. So yeah, if you need the CPU power as well, then the 1950X will be better for you. You're looking at basically the same performance, if not a little bit faster, with the 1920 anyway. So if you need the extra performance, then yeah, go with the 1950. Ishmael, oh no, wait, no. Your first comment. One day we can hope that you'll be doing a stream all decked out in OC UK gear and a tasty check in my pocket. Yes, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Oh dear. Which of the X399 boards are you liking most so far? The Aorus one. Well, I actually saw the Aorus one in what do you call it? Computex in Taipei. That was awesome. That was really cool to look at. The Zenith I also saw, or Zenith or whatever you call it. That was awesome as well. That's kind of an insanely massive board. I think that's like EATX or XLATX, which you don't see much of these days, but yeah, that's cool. I haven't actually seen the MSI X399 board yet, so I'm going to see what that one's like too. Apologies for the stream randomly flicking out there. I can see it on the display. Apologies. Speaking of RAM, is there a better brand to go for? Hardware Unbox showed a decent FPS jump using 3200 MHz. Yes. So anything that uses Samsung B die memory, that's B as in like the buzzy B. Those chips are currently the best and most supported. Samsung E die, like E for elephant. I know the phonetic alphabet, so I don't really know why I'm not saying B for Bravo and like Echo, whatever. But anyway, yeah. So Samsung B die, as in Samsung Bravo die, is going to be the best one for you. Stuff like the Jail Evo X, G-Skill Trident, I think, depending on which one you look at, I think the Trident Z or the Trident Z, that some of those are, and I know that most of the Corsair Vengeance LPX kits are Samsung BDI as well, so take a look at what is listed as Samsung BDI and then get that. Carlos, you mind helping me with PC build, first time builder, want to know if it's compatible or not. Use PC part picker. There should be one local to your area, like local to your country, and if not, still just jump on PC part picker and select the parts that you want to use and then see if it's compatible. That's the best way to do it. LV Fires, you look nacked. Yeah, well, you feel my pain. You physically feel the pain that's in my neck. I don't think you do. But and my stomach actually. I should probably move away from the desk a little bit and stop crushing the ulcer. I might have to go in a minute and take some painkillers. Yeah. So yeah, I am a bit knackered because I've been in pain and I don't sleep much because of many other reasons. But yeah, fun times. What do you think of WSSDs? Not expensive, but what about quality? From what I understand, they're pretty good. So obviously they bought SanDisk, so they're, I think, as far as I understand anyway, they're fairly similar to the SanDisk SSD Plus and stuff like that. Obviously the WD Blue ones are going to be a bit faster than standard, but yeah, they seem pretty good. I've had a couple of systems with WD Green SSDs in and I've had no issues, so yeah, that's thumbs up from me. I haven't actually reviewed one yet. I probably should, but yeah, from what I understand, they're pretty decent. Vladimir, what I think of Coffee Lake? It would just be a refinement. Well, it's Cannon Lake that's the 10nm one, so Coffee Lake is still on 1400. So I think you're still talking about a refinement there. I know that they've pushed it up a bit, and I know that they're trying to sort of rush it out so that they can then get Cannon Lake out afterwards. But yeah, from what I understand, I think it's still 14nm, which means that it's just a refinement of the process, and potentially higher clock speeds, and maybe they'll launch a 6-core variant on the high end, so the 8700K is a 6-core rather than a quad-core or whatever, but it'd be interesting to see. Nice one, Steve. That is a pretty awesome build. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So that is a pretty awesome build. Are you just using it for rendering, or is that something else as well? I take it you're not going to be gaming. What's the use case for it? I'd be interested to hear. Carlos, yes, Monday is the what was it? Very awesome. No, yeah, I can't remember. Vega, that's happening on Monday. What's coming out on tomorrow, or depending on when you're looking at. Steel Series, the Rival 710, which you can just about see, which is being tracked by my mouse. The Rival 310 and the Sensei 310. They are awesome mice. I'm actually personally using the Rival 310 now, and the Sensei is just the multi-handed version, so that's really cool. So that's coming out tomorrow, so feel free to take a look at that. So Vega next week. I've got an awesome collaboration with Beginners Tech, Ryan from Beginners Tech, that's starting on Friday next week as well, so do check that one out. I'm sure that I'll be pimping that next week for the live stream. And I've actually got my finally I got my full Skylake X CPU reviews, all three of them, in the same video, just sort of chatting through the process. I've also got a rather interesting Thermaltake mouse lined up, and 1600 versus 1700 in terms of streaming and gaming, because I've had a lot of requests for that one. G-Skill's a joke. Still, software Trident Z is not working. Software not working for Trident Z. Really, that's interesting. I thought that was something that wasn't an issue, because I remember, like, when I met G-Skill at Computex, they were actually looking at like they were using X99, X299 motherboards there, so that's interesting. James, Intel has completely lost the plot at the moment, or seems completely lost at the moment. Yeah, it's a weird feeling because for a long time they were just like, no, you're going to take this is what's going to happen. And now they seem a little confused, and I'm interested to see what happens next. It'd be interesting. Vincent, Corsair RGB softwares one day may compatible with Asus Aura. So not Asus Aura, at least not at this point anyway, because they were showing off MSI's boards in the at Computex with their like sync up or sync it software kind of thing. Where you can sync your peripherals and everything inside your case as well. Obviously, if you have Asus Aura and you have an Asus Claymore and an RG Spatha and stuff like that, then you can obviously sync that up in Aura. But if you want to use Corsair stuff, then and sync all of that up, then I think you need to wait. And I think it's going to be what do you call it? MSI, at least at the moment, anyway. Steve, you're a data scientist, do a lot of CUDA programming. Nice. That probably explains why you need 4 1080 Ti's. I take it that in terms of cost per dollar, the Titan XPP isn't worth your money instead of the 1080 Ti's. Be interested, you know. Dilson, hello, how are you? How's your day? How's everything? Ishmael, my feed isn't full of those, although I think my Facebook feed was for a while, so potentially. Yeah. Oh, okay, so you're LV Fatter saying that G-Skill software is a very buggy problem, and for premium or very expensive RAM, that's a pain. Yeah, I imagine it probably is when you're talking about RAM that costs £50 to like £200 more expensive than many other offerings, including the value and even some RGB offerings as well. So yeah, if it's buggy, which I haven't had experience with, so I cannot personally comment, but if it is buggy, then that's annoying, that's a shame. Yeah. Do I know any good 60% keyboards that can be bought from UK sellers? I've actually just finished a review today that needs to be uploaded and scheduled. It is from a UK seller on Amazon. It's called the Drevo Caliber. It's a wireless keyboard. It's pretty much the ultimate like travel keyboard, and it's actually a mechanical keyboard. It uses brown switches. And I'm actually going to be giving one away in that video, or at least like through that video as well. So if you want a free 60% or a 72 key keyboard, doesn't have the FN keys and doesn't have the number pad, just the arrow keys and the standard keyboard. So yeah, that's awesome. That review will be out in a couple of weeks, I think. Oh, I need to move that around. God damn it. This is what happens when you promise schedule stuff to people and then you have to move things around. Might have to move that. No, I've already moved that back. Oh, no, I'll just tell them that I couldn't fit it in. Cool, right, that works. This is what happens when you don't put stuff in the content schedule and then you forget. And then you're like, why? Cool. Right, so what else we got? Yeah, you've seen that one, wasn't good, how it would be, it's kind of cheap. Yeah, Dilson, it's awesome. It's really enjoyable. It uses Drevo's own key switches, but they actually feel incredibly similar to standard Cherry MX switches, so pretty happy. It's a little bit limited in the software customization, stuff like that, but overall it's pretty good. Ron, please help. Bought 1600 B350. What should you get? Planning on get 8 gig, but it's 3200. Personally, I'd say get 16 gigs of RAM because I have 32 and I run out all the time. So yeah. Personally, I'd recommend 16 gigs and go for a 2800 kit. 3200 is certainly useful for Ryzen, but I would go with like a 2800 or a 3000, but get 16 gigs instead. That's my personal preference. Vincent, you're going to leave me. Time to sleep here in Europe. Nice one. Good night. Nice having you. It's only like 10 to 9 in the UK, but fair play. Nice having you, and hope you have a good week and see you again next week. James, how do I rate Corsair keyboards? I've only actually properly reviewed the Strife a long time ago, which is very nice, and I understand that they do some pretty awesome systems in general, and keyboards, sorry. So that's cool. I do want to get a hold of a few more Corsair keyboards just because I know that a lot of people are interested in them, as am I. But overall, I understand they're pretty decent. So, yeah, pretty good. Steve, your work setup has an 800 core cluster, 2 terabytes of RAM, hundreds NVIDIA K2 grids, and 250 terabytes, and plus 30 terabyte of SAN storage, 40 gig fiber. That is like my dream setup. That's like the world's best NAS. I realize that an 800 core cluster really doesn't matter for much unless you're doing what you're doing, but you know, bragging rights, you know, have it under the stairs. It's fine. Dear, I would love that though. That'd be awesome. Right. I think, unless anyone's got any other questions, I'm going to call it there because I'm still in pain, and I want to take some painkillers and take a chill pill. So, yeah. What 1080 do I recommend? The Gigabyte Extreme Gaming, the Asus Strix, or the MSI Gaming X, or even the EVGA for the win. They're all awesome. Keep leaving any questions if you have any. How comes I'm in pain? I did a health video you can check out, but I was diagnosed with palindromic rheumatism, which is arthritis in every joint in my body. Comes and goes. It's currently in my neck, both sides of my neck, and the shoulder, and kind of my knee. Also have a stomach ulcer, duodenal stomach ulcer, which is incredibly painful. Every time I talk about it, I hit it, which is always good. And I've got a few other problems. So, yeah. Cool. LV Fatters, thank you. You need me for next week as well when I do another live stream. Same time, same place, same location, not the same URL, but close enough. Out of interest, how are you notified about the stream? Is it through YouTube or Twitter? Because that's generally the only two places that I talk about it. Dilson, it's actually it's a lifelong condition. It's something that basically will never go away, and the duodenal stomach ulcers has been something that I've had for about 4 years, having about one a year. It takes about a month of my time to get through normally, and is also incredibly painful. So, yeah. But yes, Vega, Monday. I can't tell you much about it, but yeah, subscribe, notifications, all that jazz. Dear. YouTube, nice one. AMD or Intel? Personally, right now it's AMD. Before Ryzen, it was Intel. But it's just whatever is the best, and whatever is the best value for money, and best support, and best PR person, which currently is still AMD. He's not watching, but you know, whatever. He's playing pub at the moment. Anyway, oh, nice, Skymaster. You got your drive manager to detect it properly. That's always good. It's always good when things occasionally work. Notifications activated. Good man, James. Hopefully that will help you with live streams in the future too, if you're actually available for them. Right, cool. Let me jump on as a YouTube page, and yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. But it was lovely chatting to everyone. I will see you again next week, if I'm not dead or in too much pain to speak, or not able to physically walk. And yeah, we'll see you all in a week. And of course, video tomorrow, and video on Monday, and video on Wednesday, and then live stream, and then another video on the Friday after that. Cool. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you all next week, and next video, and everything else. where is the button to finish this? Thank you all, Warren, and Skymaster, and James. I will, and Ishmael. I will try my best. It's a fun life. See you guys.